Good afternoon. It's November the 6th. I don't have a lot of time because I have to do a reading at 4 o'clock my time, or prepared for one, at World Fantasy Convention in Montreal. And if you're thinking, how on earth am I going to get to Montreal? Well, I'm not. It's a virtual reading. So I really only have about 35, 40 minutes here before I need to be thinking about getting set up and logging in for that. So I'm just going to walk in the neighborhood here on the Crescents primarily. We'll do a thorough walk though. We'll walk up to the corner, go around, walk down the alley is what I'm thinking. Something like that. It's a beautiful day, another beautiful warm day. It was cloudy earlier, but the sun has come out, as you can see, quite bright and sunny. You can also see that we are in full-blown winter mode now, leaf-wise. The elms have finally given up and dropped everything, so they're kind of the last to go here. You can even see they're stuck to the bands on the trees. People ask me about those bands all the time. They're designed to keep flightless moths from climbing up and laying their eggs, which then turn into caterpillars, which then eat the leaves in the spring. There's actually a couple of insects, but that's the one we mainly talk about is, they're called, I don't know what the name of the moth is, but the larvae are called canker worms. And they can be a real nuisance. I'm going to cross the street. So this is just very much my neighborhood. Kind of right on the edge of where downtown starts. As you may have guessed from previous walks. I hope my mic is working. I had to plug it back in while I was doing something else. So hopefully you can hear me if you're there. And if you are there, please say hi. I'm worried about that hole in that tree. It might be a tree that's on its last legs. The elms are beautiful, but they are getting to be 100 years old or more, and it's kind of their natural lifespan, I've read or heard. Might not be true, that's what I've heard. So every once in a while we lose one. At least they've been kept away from Dutch elm, which has killed so many elm trees in North America. It's the Albert and College intersection, but we're going to go down the alley this time, I think, to start. I don't walk down the alleys very often. It's paved down at this end. We used to know in a house that's now gone, a good friend of ours lived right here, and she was very much about beautifying this alley. So for a while it was called Lavender Lane, and it had all kinds of flowers and things. I think that sense has faded since she's gone. The neighborhood watch kind of goes back to that too. Because we are close to downtown. Garages and so forth get broken into sometimes. So we're walking between Leopold Crescent and Angus Crescent at the moment. Did a little publishing. Well, I already had one panel this morning with World Fantasy. It was called Kill the Parents. And the three of us talking about, is it necessary to kill the parents in YA? Why are they so often killed or somehow shuffled off the stage? We talked about that. And Is it a trope? Well, we all said no, it's just driven by the story. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. But a lot of the stories around young adult protagonists are about them finding their own way, coming of age, having to learn to deal with things themselves. So even if the parents are around, sometimes the story is about them rebelling against the parents. Anyway, it was an interesting panel. I think it was recorded. I think. I don't know if they will then become available at the World Fantasy site. But if it does, I'll certainly post links to it. In fact, I might put it on my YouTube channel if it actually becomes available. So at 4 o'clock, I'm doing a reading, which is a hybrid. So there'll be people, if they want to, in an actual room at the Bonaventure Hotel in Montreal, which I think is, I don't know if programming is there, but that's the host hotel. And I guess there's some sort of screen, and then people can also watch it virtually. So we'll see if anybody tunes in. Readings, if you're not really famous, can be hit or miss as to how many people show up. Much like signings. Every author has done a signing where the only people that talk to you want to know where the bathroom is. That sort of thing. Ah, the glamorous life. Hi-ho, the glamorous life. So far nobody has said hi, so I don't actually know if my sound is going out anywhere or if this is a silent video. Everything looks normal. So I'm not sure what happens to the alley when we get up here on Leopold. So Leopold's to the left, Angus to the right. The alley doesn't go through. Didn't think it did. So now we'll go left. And we'll go back around Leopold. And the alley continues, but it's past those houses. So maybe that's a better choice to do that. I'll just go around the corner here till I can find. Oh, hi, Tim. Can you hear me okay? So for my reading, although it's World Fantasy Convention, I'm actually going to read a science fiction story. I'll read the story from Shapers of Worlds, which also called Tybalt's Tale, which also sets up my next novel coming out next year from Daw. But it's also a way for me to talk about the anthology, Shapers of Worlds Volume 2, which just came out this week, featuring authors who were guests. I saw you, squirrel. Oh, there he is. Who were guests on my podcast during the second year. And there certainly are fantasy stories in that book, so I can't read somebody else's story. Well, I guess I could, but I won't. This way I can talk about that book, push it a little bit. I'm up to 17 authors who said they will be part of Shapers of Worlds Volume 3. So that's already in the works, and I'll do the Kickstarter for that probably in March, probably. Hello. Cute. There's the back of the house that I showed the front of. Looks much smaller in the front than it does at the back. It's a very cool house. My wife would have liked to have bought it, actually, but that wasn't going to happen. Carry on around Leopold Crescent here on the alley. In the alley, I mean. Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever walked down this part of the alley, so even in my own neighborhood, I think this might be new. If I've done it, it was only maybe once. Oh yeah, I have done it. I can't remember some of this, but I've only done it once or twice. I mean, admittedly, it's a view of recycling bins and garbage bins, and garage doors. But at least it's different. Anyway, when we get to the end, I'll turn around and go back along the actual street side of Leopold. And then I'll go up back to Angus and go up its alley, around its alley. And then I guess the Connaught alley to be complete. So Angus Crescent is right there, and Connaught's the next one over. Leopold is the longest. Little garage art. There's a mural on the side of the house up here that I remember, which is how I know that I've walked this way at least once. Rather elegant graffiti, if that's what it is. So they're using the little flat roof up there as a kind of deck. They've got an interesting deck over there too. And there's this cool mural here on the wall. P. Otis Gould, 2017, it says. Dresses up the corner. Ooh, that's a very bright yellow door. Okay, now we'll go around and go back down Leopold, but where the houses are as opposed to the alley. Maybe tomorrow I'll drive somewhere. Today there was a lot of errand running to be done, so the time is what it is. Between that and the panels, I have another panel then for World Fantasy at 7 o'clock my time, which is one more chapter. It's about how we would, as writers, there are books that we would like to expand other people's books or change their tales or that sort of thing. I still don't quite know what I'm going to say there, but I'll come up with something. So last time I walked along here, it was trick-or-treat night. That video's been popular. If you check back in my channel, you'll see my walk amongst the trick-or-treaters. I was dressed as a live streamer. Sun's pretty low, but it's always low this time of year, and it gets lower. Still got a long way to go to the shortest day of the year. Even at noon, it won't be particularly high. Lights up the houses nicely, though. supposed to gradually get colder over the next week, and there is still a risk of snow in the middle of the week. So we'll see if I get to take a walk in the white, my first white walk. I could be a white walker. Winter is coming. Just depends if it snows overnight. If it snows during the day, it's more likely to melt as it hits the ground. But if it snows overnight, it might be there in the morning when I am ready to take a walk. We will see. Still some Halloween left here and there. This is the back of Henderson Terrace, which I walk by the front many times. The heritage row of houses. It's like this house too. It's in my walking tour book, but I don't remember the details. Hello. So you go from little ones to this really big brand new one here. One reason it's so tall is because it has its garage underneath it. It's not quite completely underground. It's downhill, but it's not underground. Still, I like that one a lot. I'd like to see inside it sometime. But I don't know who lives there, so it could be hard to arrange. There's the footbridge is down there. Birds in the bushes. A bird in the bush is worth two in the hand. No, it's the other way around. Been in this one. It's very nice. Been in that one over there too, but it's a new one. And one of these along here used to belong to somebody whose basement was where Regina Light Opera stored all of its costumes and things. So I was in there a few times. One of those two, I think, or those three. But that was 30 years ago. Of course, I always point out this one where the Linda Carter movie was shot back in the 90s. And our neighborhood turned into an American neighborhood with American post boxes and American police cars in the immediate vicinity of this house, but they were doing the shooting. If I could remember the name of the movie, I'd look it up sometime, but I never saw it and I don't know what it was called. Could probably find out. Google Linda Carter Regina movie or something like that. I'm pretty sure it would turn up. And in this one, a friend of Alice's lived there, and her parents, her parents. The houses on that side are set at a jaunty angle because of the curve of the Crescent. Nice ones over here. Something covered up for the winter. I think it's a fountain, if I remember right. Interesting trunk on that tree. I don't know what it is. Look at the trunk. It's very shiny and metallic looking. But in this one, most of the ones I've been in, except for people we know, are from the Davin School home tour. This is a fundraiser for Davin School, now Crescent School, and my wife was involved, so volunteers would get a chance to tour the houses the night before the actual tour. And I helped with some desktop publishing and stuff for them. And Margaret Ann would volunteer, so got to do those tours for a few years. See, those are all set at an interesting angle over there. Technically, I guess they're actually set north-south, probably. And it just looks like they're angled because they're actually straight. Would be my guess. Get in a couple of those too. Little Halloween left there. Just remember it's showing up there. That's next week, of course, November 11th. If you're looking for something related to read, my grandfather-in-law's First World War memoirs, One Lucky Devil, I published through Shadowpaw Press, shadowpawpress.com. Samson J. Goodfellow is his name. It's available everywhere, in ebook and print. One Lucky Devil, the First World War memoirs of Samson J. Goodfellow. Or you can go to books2read2.com/OneLuckyDevil, and that will give you links to the many places it's available in both print and ebook. There's the grasshopper, and that's the Royal Saskatchewan Museum over there. We come back to the intersection here of College and Albert. And there's a big pile of dirt in the middle of the sidewalk for some reason. Well, you can see, even though it's quite warm today in the shade, there's still ice here in the gutter. So it just shows you that the air temperature may feel warm, but it's actually in the shade. It's still quite cold. Okay, so we'll go around the corner, then we'll walk. It's already walked up half of Angus. We'll take the Angus alley as far as we can. It'll take us along the Avon School playground and behind our house. We are looking up Albert towards downtown. Oof. Well, it's been well below freezing. We're to the point where it frosts most nights. And then with the sun being so low, it doesn't heat up enough in the shadows for it to melt. So starting to see ice like that on any body of water that's shaded. There was ice on the lake when I walked to Douglas Park on, what day was that? Thursday? Just a thin layer. But it got so warm the last couple of days, I'm sure that's gone. But it will be back. So we are back at the corner of Angus and College. Unitarians over there. Unitarian Center. Watch my time, 20 after 3, so I should be able to go another 15 minutes or so. I have to be back home in 15 minutes or so. Which is why I'm not wandering too far afield today. So Angus and Leopold are complete crescents. Connaught is only a half crescent because it runs into the school yard here. For Devon School. Our alley is paved, which is nice. Mainly, I think, because school buses use it. Because they drive along here so they can pull up in front of the school more easily. Schoolyard, kids over there. Where are those grown-ups? Somebody walking a dog? I can't. Yeah, it's a dog. It's hard to see because the sun's kind of in that direction. Garbage pickup is on Monday. We've gone to every 2 weeks now instead of weekly. Once it gets cold, they figure you can wait a week. So that started last Sunday, as I know, because I hauled mine out and then wondered why it wasn't picked up, and then remembered that change after the fact. There you go. Back of Devon School. And you're asking me about the boys and girls, if you're still there, Tim. Yes, those boys and girls entrances are back here, and those signs are still there, I'm told. I can't see them, though. I wonder if they did fill them in finally, because they'd be on these doors back here, and I don't see it in the stone. So maybe they were there not that long ago, my wife tells me, but I don't see them now. Could walk over there and find out. Let's walk over there and find out. There's no kids on the playground, so this won't look too creepy. See if we can still see them. Anyway, the lighting is good on the building from this direction. And the playground. No sign of it. It would have been right there. So I would think that they got filled in at some point. Because there's only one entrance on this side. I'll go up the Connaught alley since I came this way, then we'll come back on Connaught, and that might just do it for today. It's the front of the school. It still says Devon School over the front door. Even though they've changed the name, they haven't gone so far as to sandblast them out of existence on here. My wife told me that they were still there, so she must have seen them. But then our daughter hasn't been in school there now for 6 years, so we haven't been paying as much attention and haven't been going in and out for this and that. Rather interesting project. So this is behind Connaught Crescent, but it's not a curving alley, because these houses sit, again, at a jaunty angle. So it's a straight alley, even though it's a crescent. Oh, I never noticed that till now. We'll go up around to the... does the alley go through from Angus? I'm not actually sure. Find out in a minute. Seems very peaceful and quiet this afternoon. I don't know where everybody is. I mean, there's cars moving around, but it seems quite quiet. Maybe it's just because it's not windy or anything like that. Yeah, here's the Angus. Well, sometime since then, and probably just in the last few years, it looks like they took boys and girls off of those doors, entrances. Okay, this is the Angus Crescent alley, which leads us back towards home. So Leopold on that side, which we walked down Technically, it's the same alley between Leopold and Angus. I just realized what I said. So I think I'll go back to the Crescent. Oh, of course, that's the Crescent. Now I got it. Okay. I was right the first time. That's Connaught we're behind. So I will go around this alley. That's Leopold down there. We have not been along this alley. Forgot which Crescent I was on. That's Angus Crescent in front of us. Connaught Crescent behind us, and this is the alley between Connaught and Angus. And once I get home here, I'll stop, even though it's only going to be about a 35-minute walk today, so I can get ready for my reading in about half an hour. Interesting colors. I don't think those are natural. Sun Productions. Don't know what that is. I should look it up, I guess. So the alley ends here behind the bishop's house, which had the big Halloween lineup for its haunted house that it does. As you can see, it's one of the largest houses in the neighborhood. Oh, there's the shadow of a squirrel. Where's the squirrel? Here he is. It's a dead end, so I'll have to go back, but look at the squirrel. I thought there was a side alley there, but I guess this is the side alley here. Well, yes, I've only lived in this neighborhood for 30 years. Why do you ask? But you don't spend a lot of time in the alleys, generally speaking. All right, back up here to my own sweet Crescent, Angus Crescent. Blame you for a Scotsman, clearly. I was doing an Irish accent, but it should be something a bit more like this, obviously, and that's not quite right. Right. Oh, no, this is Connaught again. Yeah, same difference. I walked along here with the trick-or-treats too. Oh, that one has sold, so too late to get in on that one. Yeah, there's the closest store is the Petro can over there now, which is a convenience store. So if kids were going anywhere, that's where they would likely go. Well, again, this is where I was for the trick-or-treating in the bishop's house. This is the other side of it. Had that big lineup of people waiting to get in and be scared. They're very popular. One reason we get so many trick-or-treaters, we had 110 and then had to close down. And people not far away had like 20. But there's something about the Crescents and College Avenue that attracts a lot of kids. Also a nice house. Here's our corner, so I will stop up here after, how long would it turn out to be? Yeah, 35 minutes or so. Short, but sweet. Maybe I'll do something more exciting tomorrow, where I drive somewhere and have a bit more time. All right, well, thanks for walking with me, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.